You can't renovate the past, but you can find peace with it. This week, we're going to talk about how to find emotional closure with your landed home. I'm Sarah X Miracle, landed realtor, content creator, and mom of 4. And as someone who has moved many times in the last few years, including just having completed a house move, in fact, the house that you see I'm filming in, I no longer stay in by the time you watch this. I've had to deal with a lot of emotional closure. It is the same process. Now, having gone through as well a pregnancy loss in 2019, I had a lot of grief. And I know you're wondering, why is she talking about stillborn when I'm here for the landed content? It's because I believe that grief is a universal emotion and we have to process our grief in order to find emotional closure and move on to our next season of life. After having gone through this grief recovery workbook framework, I found it super useful for myself in even using it to do emotional closure on house moves. And because a landed home has been such an important part of your life, you stay there 20, 30 years, it's not going to be an overnight process for you to just say like, okay, I can sell, I can move, goodbye. I mean, you probably know the math that yes, we can create a never-ending retirement fund. Yes, we can pay off our mortgage. Yes, we can live very comfortably on the remains. We can get private banking facilities. We can help our children, grandchildren with their education, with the funds that are coming out of it. You know all the logic, but now it's time for us to address the heart of the matter. Now, I make real estate videos every week to help families make values-based decisions so that you can be on the edge of your future and not sitting in the past. If you like videos like this, I hope you subscribe. Give me a notification, like, and a bump on the like button as well so that you'll be notified every single time a new video comes out, which is every week. Without further ado, I'm just going to cover the framework itself so that you can get a sense and a handle on how to do this. Of course, there is the actual workbook itself, but I'm going to talk about it applied to your landed home so that you can really benefit from this and you can maybe take away this step before you even decide to sell, because I believe that the emotional closure in your heart has to come first before you're even willing to pick up the phone and say to someone, I'm thinking of selling my house. With some of my other clients, it took them years before they realized that they can't let go. There are some signs that you can't let go. You say that you want to put your house up for sale, but you've basically overpriced it because you just want a number that's beyond valuation. It's a high emotional number. So that's one sign that you haven't come to emotional closure. Another sign is that you have set an expectation for a very unrealistic move, whether it's saying that I can hold, I can wait on a timeline perspective. You can say, yeah, it's okay. I can just wait until I have holding power. That actually means that you haven't found your emotional closure as well. So these are two telltale signs that you need emotional closure with your landed home before you can really start to sell your home. So without further ado, let's get into the framework right now. So the first step is to acknowledge that there is an emotional tie to the house. It's the same with my house right now that I'm staying in. I want to say it aloud and acknowledge it. It's something that you can process with your partner or maybe even with your children. If you've grown up children, just express this to them. For example, you can say that I have loved staying in this house. I mean, that is a great thing to say. And it's a great acknowledgement that this house has served you well. It was a place that your children grew up in. You had so much space for them because this was a lovely landed home. And that you also had so many fond memories of cooking for the family, hosting parties. So you should say that. Say it out loud. I have loved living in this landed home. Some practical things you can do. You can list out some of the significant memories that happened in this home. You can actually write a gratitude list of things that you were so grateful for and even milestones in your life that happened, not because of the house, but while you were living in this house. For example, you got promoted to that awesome job. You had an amazing business that flourished in the time that you were here, or that you saw 3 or 4 children graduate. So many milestones and so many things happened while you were in this house. It's important to acknowledge the emotional tie. Step 2. Identify what is the emotional weight or the emotional blockage that is holding you back. For example, it could be because you are holding on to a certain amount of belongings. It could be some of your childhood memories like photographs, artworks of your children, trophies, award certificates, things that just remind you of you being a parent, you being having someone who grew a family. And that is so significant because even for myself right now, I find myself having to wonder how much of my children's art should I keep or throw away. All of the art is so meaningful and precious to me. But at some point, this physical stuff is going to have to go. We can't take it with us wherever we go. Let's find out where's that emotional blockage. For example, maybe you have a huge crockery collection that you never use anymore because you don't host big parties anymore. Those crockeries remind you of a time that has gone past where you used to hold these big parties and you used to be the party queen and you used to be the one in the center of it all. You need to identify what is it, because there is something going to be physically in your house, let me assure you, that reminds you of a memory, of a time, of a season, of a position, of even an identity that you have still attached yourself to, that you you have not been able to articulate and verbalize, it needs to be closed and wrapped nicely and taken care of. Which leads us to the third point. Let's articulate and therefore communicate what has been left unsaid. For example, when it's to do with, let's say, the crockery, representing the parties and the life you used to live in this house. You know what? I am so grateful to you, house. You can even give the house a name. I have given my house a name at Maison Miracle. I'm so grateful to you, Mr. House, because you held all of our parties, all of that fun, all of that gathering. You held so much laughter. I'm super grateful, Mr. House. Or it could be, let's say, to do with your children. You can say, wow, this house really served us so well, and that all the memories in here is something that I really can't forget. I will never forget those memories. I am so proud of my children's achievements, of what they did when they were still in my house. Even that, if it's something that you need to articulate and say that, yeah, I was proud of what they did, you should absolutely say that. It's not just about negative emotions. It's also about the positive things in life that you experience. And somehow because of that, you have a very positive association with this house, which you find difficult to let go. One of the ways that the grief recovery workbook framework suggests is to write a letter. And if it was to a person or relationship, they would recommend key things to write. Number one, things that you're grateful for the person. Number two, things that you feel you need to forgive the person of. Number three, things that you need to be forgiven of. And number four, emotional statements. The gratitude is there to see the positive. The forgiveness aspect, which is a reciprocal thing, is to also see that there are ups and downs in every relationship. I was not always good. In the context of a house, maybe there were water leakage issues towards the end. Maybe there were pests that came in sometime. Or maybe there wasn't. Maybe it was all good. So then let it be all gratitude. That's fine too. But the last part I find is so powerful about creating emotional statements. Let's say you gave birth to your youngest child in this house when the other children were a bit older. Let's say you had a younger child, and that this house reminds you of that season of sweetness that you had with that younger child that was a lot younger than the others. And you can say, like, I remember that this house represented a newness in the season. It represented a new life to me. I was so grateful that I had this beautiful home that I could grow all my children and have the blessing of a much younger child. It can be anything. But the point is that we want to say what's the most emotional thing. Actually, we did a whole video of saying why we sold our penthouse, so you can see some of the emotional statements that we made a bit over there. But I'm just going to give you a practical example right now with my own house. For example, I'm going to say, this house was so beautiful. I put in so much effort to decorate and to interior design this house with the consultants, personally pick up the materials. I have put so much of myself into you, and you will always have a part of me in this house, in the design of it, in the sourcing of the materials. You will always have a part of me. And that is the beautiful thing. And I'm going to have to leave a part of me with you. So that's an example of an emotional statement. I am really emotional because I put in so much effort to design this house. And you might have done the same. You might have been the one to work so hard with the contractor, to work with the designs. You'll make sure everything was on the budget. It was crazy. You sacrificed so much. And so that could be another thing. I sacrificed so much to own you. You probably looked for ways to increase your income to be able to afford a land at home back in the day. You probably cut down on certain things so that you could pay the mortgages. It's fine. Say all of that. I sacrificed so much to have you, and you were worth it. You were worth the sacrifice. And the last step, highly recommended, is to make an active choice. So how do we then wrap it all up in something that is an action? For example, saying a prayer for the house, a gratitude prayer. Hey God, thank you so much for blessing us with this house over the last how many years. I pray that this house will be released to the next season for the next owner to be able to use this house for their next season, because real estate has to have that purpose. And God, I believe that this house is going to be released to the right people. You could pray that. You could also, for example, take a final family photo with all your kids, or invite them and make a thing and say, hey, you know what? It hasn't been a long time for us to just take a family photo with the house and the parts that we remember, or even recreate memories, part of those TikTok trends. Your younger generation of grandkids will be super happy to help you guys with it. Taking those kind of video memories or even photo memories in the house to remember the house by, that will be another beautiful way for you to make an active choice. So in conclusion, these are the 4 steps that you can take in order for you to find emotional closure with your landed home. Because landed homes, I think, unlike apartments, they bear a lot more weight in terms of the size of the homes, the amount of things it can hold, and the lifestyle that you could have lived. Very different from just having stayed in an apartment. I want to recognize that and honor that. You have done so well with your home. You have done so well with your family. And if no one has ever affirmed you, I want to affirm you right now that you have done amazing in this life. But now that it's time to move to the next season and find the emotional closure, I really hope that you can do it. Just to help you guys out, I've come up with an emotional closure journal for you to be able to process all the things that I've talked about. It's in a downloadable PDF format that you can use, you can print out, or you can write digitally as well, or type it on your computer. Just click the link below in the description or in the caption, and I'll be super happy for you to download it for free just to help you out. If you like videos like these, I hope you subscribe to my channel, give me a like, and hit the notification button so that you'll know whenever new videos are released, which is practically every week. I'm Sarah X Miracle, Realtor, content creator, and mama for. See you soon.